Hello guys, it's Matt Lemke here again with Through Gamer Goggles, and today we're going to take a look at the second edition Pathfinder GM screen. It is something that I don't normally use a lot of, but with the onset of second edition I decided I was going to go ahead and purchase this at Gen Con. And yes, it is, that was 9 months ago? So I've used it a handful of times, and this is a review, instead of an unboxing type of thing. It is what I found useful and what I still find useful. So obviously one of the first things you see is the art, and the art of this particular GM screen is done by Ekaterina Burmak. And we'll take a look at the art first. I did buy the landscape edition, which I like a lot. And on the very first portion of the cover, well, if you unfold it all, you can see that our iconic characters, and we'll go from the right side of the screen. I'll zoom in a little bit more. It is one big picture that kind of, for the most part, runs in together. You've got a cavern here with some of the iconic characters fighting two different creatures. Maybe that might be an Abeloth, a dragon. You got the rogue, you got the fighter, and the cleric here, along with the sorceress and the champion fighting the Abeloth. And I can't remember who the gnome is. That's definitely the bard. And then over here, what looks like a different scene to me, you have the goblin alchemist whipping some alchemical fire at a hill giant, with Amiri jumping through the air to smash his skull and finish him off, while the dwarven, I think that's a fighter, I can't remember all the iconics, chasing after it, along with the alchemist's boom explosion. And then right around the corner you have the monk, the wizard, and the druid fighting undead that are coming down to help the giants. So, two different stories there. It would be kind of neat to see what you guys write in the comments about these pieces of art, and see if you can tell a little bit of a story. It'd be kind of fun. Keep it to like 25, 30 words. Or start a chain. Wow, that would be fun. Anyway, flipping it over, we have what I found. Let's see, how do I want to do this? Let's go with what I find still to be useful. Or we'll just start and we'll move across. So on the very first, farthest to the left, the way you would read a book, you have all the conditions. Well, maybe they're not all the conditions that are going to be in the game, but they're all the conditions that came out at the onset of Pathfinder 2nd Edition. And what I found useful is, one, that there is the page reference, and you'll find page references throughout this whole book, throughout the whole GM screen, as to where you can look up things for more detail. But even to date, I still find the conditions card, or the conditions section, one of the most helpful things. That may change because I recently bought the condition deck, which we're going to talk about that in a minute. I think it's going to be an invaluable tool. So as a reference, I think the $20, the $19.99 price tag on it is worth it just for this portion. As somebody who learned a new system and grew into being an experienced GM. One of the other things that I have found to be very helpful as I grow is, I gotta move over a little bit, sorry guys. Was the icon key. And early on the second page, we have the Deterrence. Here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Was the turn sections. Back up just a little bit. There we go. And then the basic actions, crawl, drop prone, all that stuff. And your specialty basic actions are at the bottom. Went too far. There we go. Are at the bottom here. And I still find that death and dying This section is still very helpful to me. My players' characters don't get into death and dying nearly as much as Jason Bullman's do, so I still find this a very useful part of the GM screen. What I don't find as useful, okay, actually, right here underneath death and dying, there's this unconscious chart in treat wounds. I find that to be one of the most invaluable portions of the GM screen because I just cannot remember those numbers for whatever reason. And then over here, right above the. Did I go too far? Back up a little bit. Right there. There we go. Then zoom in some. Having a hard time moving everything. I don't have my monitor anymore, it blew up. Hero points. We don't use hero points enough in my games, so when we do, I find myself referencing it on the screen and not having to look it up in the book. And then we have skill actions over here. This comes in to be more valuable than I thought it was going to be. I just figured the characters would know what they need to know, but having this basic list here for what they are, along with the simple DCs by level next to it, and trained and untrained, and DC adjustments, has been very beneficial to playing the game. And then, of course, we've got specific skill DC checks for like craft, gather information, and things like that over there. Of course, there is things like creature identification, and then as you get into the last section of the screen, you have a little bit more, I guess, gameplay-oriented type of stuff. So we have things on detecting our creatures, our exploration activities, falling damage, structures, how to force something open. Again, you have the page references for everything. And lastly, XP awards, encounter budgets, and things of that nature, and how to adjust things and where they come from. These last two sections are actually right out of the bestiary, or bestiary if you prefer. So that is the Pathfinder 2 GM screen in a nutshell, and what I have found advantageous about it. So what do I think about it? Well, being somebody who's been playing role-playing games since the mid-'80s, I've never had a lot of use for the GM screens personally, and I kind of think they build a wall between me and your players, which in some instances is important, but I've never been a big fan of it, especially if you're sitting at the table and you have to look over it and stuff like that. I generally stand when I GM, so it's not as big a problem anymore as it used to be. And I have found that this GM screen has helped me learn how to play and GM Pathfinder 2nd Edition much faster than if I had not have had it. So it is an invaluable tool. Will I ever grow out of needing it? Probably. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day. Hi, guys. Meet the Nibbles, who's gonna go down. She just decided not to go down my back, so we'll do this for her so she's comfy. Thanks for watching my video, and I appreciate it. Please hit the like button and share it if you know somebody who might be interested. And of course, there's always Twitter and the Facebook thingy, and soon I have a newsletter coming. That'll be down there or in a link below, and my kitty cat loves that idea. So anyway, there was one more thing. Oh yeah, subscribe. Be a part of my community, our community. Let's make it grow together. See you guys at a con somewhere, or a local store, or if I'm driving through the country, maybe a game club. I don't know, you're not going to go knock down my camera. Bye, guys.